today we had our weekly meditation call on Discord, which you're always welcome to every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. We meditate together on my Discord server, where the link is in the description. And so after the meditation, I got a question from a viewer, and I frequently talk about my 108 Bao practice. It's a Korean Buddhism practice, and I've talked about it a lot in my videos, and I've also talked about it a lot in my writings. With that, someone was asking, "Hey, I want to try that, and how do I do that?" So I made some videos today to explain how to do it. Let's take a look at it together. You've probably heard me talking about the 108 bowing, and it's also called prostration, but it's a largely Korean practice in Buddhism. So you don't need a lot of requirements, but it would help you if you have a cushion like this for your knees. And let's start with the most basic way of doing a bow, and this is a little cultural note. When you enter a Korean temple, there's usually a big room with the Buddha there, and so when you enter these big rooms, you usually bow 3 times when you enter a temple while facing the Buddha. So let's go over the 3 bows, and I'll show you. Start with the hands in prayer pose, and ideally, you go vertically straight down, and while you put your palms on the mat, you cross the foot. I don't think it really matters which foot comes on top, but it is usually taught to have the right foot on top. And go down, palm up, palm down again, and ideally again, come straight up. That's 1 bow. Now, depending on your mobility, depending on the strength of your legs, depending on your core, you may need to make adjustments. So adjustments can look like this. You kind of do a squat down instead of vertically down because more stress on the knees. So if you need to, you go down like this, and then you're here, and then you come up like this. This is also acceptable, but again, ideally, in terms of when you're going to repeat this, you want to reduce the strain on your body, and also you will gain more relevant strength. So ideally, it looks like this. Now, on the 3rd bow, or whenever you end a bow, series of bows, you add a little bit of extra detail at the end. After you're done with this, you put your hands together, and then whatever prayer you have, whatever wish you have, you briefly recite it inside of you, and then head down again. Now, that was the end of the 3 bows, and this is your hello to Buddha. Hi Buddha, I'm here. Okay, so how does the 108 bow work? When having your beads called mala is helpful. So there are 108 stones here, and when you go on Etsy and you search for mala, there's a lot of them on sale. And if you visit your local psychic shop, mystic shops, they also carry a lot of mala. And just like a rosary or any other type of prayer bead, as you go on, you do 1 by 1 by 1. But 108 is kind of longer than the rosaries that you are used to. So this is a hot tip. You basically have this, right? But you twist it once. And what that allows you to do is you can keep going. So you can keep going, and the beads don't run into each other, and the beads don't tangle, and it makes it easy for you to count. So with that said, how do you do the 108 bows? You just do what I did 108 times. I'll show you 7 times as an example. So I have my feet starting from the starting position. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So that's how you do it. When you're beginning, it's gonna be a little confusing when to do the counting. I like to count after I stand up, but it takes a little bit of trial and error. So someday you're gonna do 107, some days you're gonna do 109, but as long as you are intent and you are focused on doing it, you will be able to do 108 bows every day. Okay, so that was my recorded version of it, and so the basic nuance is this: it doesn't really matter how you do it. The ideal form is vertically go down, vertically go up, and it's called the 5-point contact, and it's basically your forehead on the mat, your elbows and your knees, and then palms facing up. So I didn't mention this in the video, but this is the largely Korean way of doing it. The Japanese one is more about the kneeling down called zazen, and then you kind of meditate there. Chinese one, they bow, but they focus on bowing after kneeling. So they kneel and then they just come up and down and up and down and up and down while kneeling. So that's why when you go to a Chinese temple, they have the knee kind of the chair that you can kneel on, and that's where you bow. Tibetans, on the other hand, do a full prostration. So Koreans kneel, right? Tibetans do a full sprawl and then they come back, and then they do this like every 3 steps as they go on their pilgrimage to the Potala castle, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, so the Korean version of the prostrations is kind of a nice halfway point between the Tibetan one, which is 100% like super hard, and the relatively easy Chinese one. So it is basically like a full squat 108 times. And it's recommended that I recommend you doing it 1 hour, wake up 1 hour early than before. The guideline is 5 a.m., especially if you are the type of person who wakes up late, because it introduces a different kind of a discipline into your life. And 5 a.m. every morning, and then start the morning with the 108 bows and then 10 minutes of meditation. That is the official practice that we do in our Buddhist order. So this is very, very hard, and the idea of it, I'm sure, is already deterring you from trying to do it. But this is how I learned. This is the fastest way to change your personality, change your karma, change your change a part of your upbringing, right? Your experience in living life. If you have a hot temper, this is the way that is like actually challenging that temper. If you are lazy, this is what actually challenges the laziness. If you get too personally attached to some things, this is how you actually let go of the attachments. This is a very abstract and a very pure way of overcoming yourself. And if you do this for 100 days, I guarantee you there's pretty much no chance that you are not going to encounter any kind of change. You will notice at least one kind of a change in your life if you do this for 100 days. Now, I'm making this video so that if you want to get started, you can, right? But I also understand that when you do this with a group of people, kind of like an accountability group, it also tends to really help, right? Well, that's why my Buddhist order they have a collective group of people doing it together in increments of 100 days. So if there is enough interest in wanting to try this, if there is enough interest in actually wanting to do something about your life to change it, right? Later this year, I'll open up a registration so that we all can wake up at the same time. And if if some of us are having a more difficult time, we encourage each other. And then every morning we're gonna wake up at the same time and we're gonna do 108 bows and meditate together for 100 days. So if that is something that you are interested in, let me know in the comments or hop on my Discord channel, Discord server. Go to the Meditators channel, and then we can talk about it a little bit more. Another question that's related to this is, what should I be thinking when I'm doing this, right? So basically, this is such a hard thing that at the beginning, your mind is just kind of gonna be lost, and you will lose count a lot, especially if you don't have the mala. And even with the mala, you are kind of going to lose count because you forget to count one. So there will be a lot of trial and error, and it will be tough. But many people try to cut corners, and they want to listen to music, and they want to be, I don't know, like basically things that allow you to pump yourself up, hype yourself up, right? So is doing that is kind of like being distracted while doing it so that it makes it easier on yourself. Is that better than not doing it at all? Yeah, I would say so, right? But this is a practice that you start in the first place because you want to challenge yourself. This is something that you do. This is something that you commit to when you are ready to overcome yourself. Because the only person that you really have to overcome is you, keeping you in the same place. Your karma keeping you in the same place. But that's fine, right? Like, you don't need to want to change. But in case you do want to change, in case you want to live a life that is different from your factory settings, and you really want to know a very reusable skill in taking your life to multiple directions, right? So for example, suppose you want to be more adventurous, and then after that, suppose you want to be a little bit more socially active in philanthropy, and then after that, suppose you want to be more physically active. So all these things, right, they don't require, so if one may think that it's a 3 separate skills that you have to develop. But when you become a practitioner, when you actually practice this art of Korean Buddhism, it's an abstract skill. It's a reusable skill, and you can apply it to take your life wherever you want to. And I can't stress this enough. So, with that said, I hope this answers all the questions that you need in order to get started, and I hope that you will give it at least a try.